How long you think it is before they take to the streets and you see civil disobedience on a mass scale, showing you who's really in charge? That middle class is your only buffer. It is that thin crust on a volcano. Don't crack that crust. Cover of the New York Post today. Finally, speaking truth to power. For those of you listening on audio, this is the cover of the New York Post. They're quoting a columnist. The Big Apple is dying. I grew up here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sin what's happening. The Big Apple is dying. Its streets are empty. Tens of thousands have been plunged into poverty. Our leaders have no plans, no answers, and New Yorkers have already learned to socially distance. Businesses can adjust. The elderly and infirm can continue to be isolated. It needs to end now, period. Thank you, New York Post, David Marcus, for finally putting that on the cover. I don't even know David Marcus. It's over. End this lockdown, and I can't encourage you in strong enough terms. Civil disobedience is the only path forward if they won't do it. These people work for us. They work for us. They're public servants, servants of the public. We don't work for them. It's not a tyranny. It's not a monarchy. It's not an oligarchy. It's time to stand up. I've been there. I left my job. I left my pension. I ran for office. I did my best. It didn't work out. I have been there. I've taken on the battle scars. I nearly went bankrupt doing it. I'm not trying to impress you. I don't need anybody's accolades. It's not about self-praise. It's only meant to establish bona fides that I'm not speaking with forked tongue. It is time for people to stand up. It is time for businesses on blocks to organize and get together and say, we're all opening up. They can't come for all of us at once. We outnumber them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands to one. It's our time. It's our country. This is over because we say it's over, because they work for us. Consent has been revoked. Consent of the governed matters. You no longer have it. You want people to die and be bankrupted because what? You want to win an election, you sick slobs? They can't help themselves, folks. I saw a tweet by CBS about Trump taking hydroxychloroquine. The tweet suggesting Trump is stopping the hydroxychloroquine after massive heat came down on Trump. That has nothing to do with it. He was on a 2-week cycle of the drug based on possible exposure that ends in 2 days. They're lying to you about everything. You know, I'm going to leave it at this because there's a lot more going on, and forgive me, but this is time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Consent has been revoked. It's revoked. You no longer have it. These people work for us, and it's time to show them that again. You know, I had a AP history teacher in high school who was kind of a liberal, but was a nice guy, and I learned a lot from him. Just retired, as a matter of fact. And he brought up the point to me that you'll never have a lot of mass civil disobedience in this country as long as there's a middle class because they have too much to lose. I'm asking the so-called public servants with the dreaded air quotes because you only serve yourselves, you greedy lion slobs and snakes, you filth. How long do you think this is going to continue? How long? You're already seeing civil disobedience percolate. As the middle class disappears because you wiped them out with your economic lockdowns based on no science at all, none. Matter of fact, based on counter-science. Places lifting lockdowns now are seeing less infections. How long do you think this is going to continue? If you don't have a middle class and all you have is poverty and people all of a sudden have nothing to lose, how long do you think it is before they take to the streets and you see civil disobedience on a mass scale, showing you who's really in charge? That middle class is your only buffer. It is that thin crust on a volcano. Don't crack that crust.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.